This is the Mars podcast. I'm having a difficult time. I have an apartment building where they shut off the elevator in order to funnel people so they can trigger my PTSD over and over and over again. I hate living here. I hate living in Los Angeles, and I hate that I don't have my disability benefits because I'm trying my hardest to talk about my petitions, my change.org/clear LA smog, where I just want to repair the roads, give you good roads in America. And nobody cares, except for Clint. Hi there, Clint. Sorry, I couldn't stay in your chat because I felt like crying. I hate the fact that I don't have the ability to just live by myself. That it costs so much to try and gather, my life together and just be by myself. I'm trying to talk to people on a Mars Reddit, and these people are so cynical, they're so jaded, and they have no real hope. You see, that the whole idea of Neil Armstrong going off into space, landing on the moon, all of that. It was such a long time ago that people don't see that anymore as something inspiring. The letter NASA, it doesn't have that kind of power. People buy their shirts, and I've seen a lot of shirts. The trucking community around here is that someone? Hello. I'm IanXIlyana. I live in California, and California is just way too upsetting for me because it's a community, but you can't choose the community. If it was just super cool, chill people and everyone was amazing, that'd be lovely. And I would say LA and California are lovely places. But instead of that, I've had to deal with drug addicts and criminals and been the victim of a hate crime twice. It just doesn't help me because I have PTSD from my military sexual trauma, and I just want to be by myself. And I mean, just look at me. My hair is a mess. I don't take care of myself. I feel so unattractive because I want to try. You see, every time I try and make myself look nice, make myself feel attractive to myself, I'm not trying to pick up people. I'm just trying to say I celebrate myself. I celebrate my beauty. I celebrate my body. This city just like shoves people on me, and I don't like that kind of energy. I don't. Clint, you flatter me. You flatter me because I would be into that. You see, that's one of the reasons why I have to resist moving to the South, because I lived in the South, and when I was there, I was a werewolf. I was a full-on werewolf. I lived as a werewolf. I dressed as a werewolf. And, I was a proud transgender werewolf. Nobody gave a shit. Nobody said anything. Nobody made any comments. I could live my life freely. And out of ignorance, I moved to Los Angeles, and I've regretted that situation because I couldn't continue in Texas. I really couldn't, because that wasn't a good lifestyle. It just wasn't. With my PTSD, I didn't have as many triggers and flare-ups, but I was also drinking heavily in order to stop that from happening. And I don't see that as something that's good for you. I mean, if you want to drink, you should drink because you're happy and you're having a good time and you're surrounded by decent people. You shouldn't drink because you have nightmares and you scream all the time. So I had to leave. So I came here, and in LA is just so upsetting because it's so transparent. It's Could you just get over your PTSD and be an actor, star, something? Because you're like so super talented and you sing and you dance and you do all these things, and it's just that's not who I am. I'm an engineer. I'm a community leader. You want to find someone who sings and dances for you? Go look on the street or something like that. I still make music. I cried this morning because I said I miss Glee. The show has been off the air for so long, and I've just been YouTube binge watching because I couldn't afford Disney at this time. I've been YouTube binge watching Glee episodes. Sorry. And I miss the show. I really do. Thank you. Like I say, I love being an Indigenous person and having an Indigenous background on both sides of my family, which I find to be very, very interesting. My mother, she was part Native American, and my father, full on, full on Azteca. And the two of them met, and it was just like, you smell familiar, like you smell like the blood of the ancestors. And so, because of that, with all the blending that they did, they ended up with two Asian kids. When you have two Native American people who come together, you make Asian people. You may not think of it that way, but that's the truth of it. Because every indigenous person down to Peru and Chile, they're all Asian, very tan Asian, slightly different Asian, but we're Asian people. And I say that because I look at Asian culture, I look at the peace and serenity that the meditation-based society teaches you. And I think that's what's missing in my life. As much as I want to fix your roads and I want to improve life here, I also want to unplug. I want to remove myself from greater society because it's not who I am inside. I grew up in America. I've lived an American lifestyle, and I just feel more comfortable being an indigenous person. I like technology. I'm a scientist, so I'm not going to lose that. I have to follow my heart, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that I'm not officially part of a tribe. I could have pushed the issue a little more, but maybe that's just the way things are meant to be. It's not that I don't appreciate my culture. I think I have to start my own tribe. Even if it's a tribe of one, I think that's just the path that I have to take, because I want to take this all the way to Mars. The podcast is Mars, 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 because that's the only thing I want. I want to repair your roads, but I also want to build a society that doesn't need roads anymore, because roads are an old way of thinking. Hi, Paula. When I think of roads, I think of do you need to go to whatever you think you need, or do you have that already there where you are? I mean, it could be something as simple as do you need to go to the movies, or do you need to maybe pay for a subscription like Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatever? Not really name dropping, but people complain about the prices of those streaming services going up. But we don't talk about the increased price of going outside in America. People don't want to listen to my bill, change.org/clear LA smog, because it repairs the roads. And that's not something they're interested in, because if the roads are damaged, then you have something to complain about. You complain about it and they don't do anything. You don't want them to do anything, because there are whole construction crews whose project fill a pothole. See a pothole, fill a pothole. Wait, and then another pothole will appear and you fill that one too. And people can be paid for years off of that. A whole construction crew just assigned to one road to refill the same potholes over and over and over again. They do that instead of going to Mars. I'm very angry because of my PTSD from military sexual trauma, but I'm so hurt and I'm disappointed because the United States wouldn't let me reach my full potential as an engineer of the United States Air Force. So instead of being the lead engineer of a Mars expedition team, I'm stuck in LA with my PTSD. And I know Paula is looking for like a singing and dancing podcast right now, and I just don't feel like it. as I said, this city of Los Angeles is trying to use exposure therapy to say, ugh, could you just get over it? Yeah, you were sexually abused by a female master sergeant. Could you get over it? And it's like, no, I'm not. I'm not. You see, I don't get over it because that behavior, that attitude, that your body belongs to the American government or your body belongs to American people is throughout the entire culture. I could say the military are terrible people for sexually abusing, raping American citizens who are heroes, who decided to listen to their inner voice and say, my community needs me. And you penalize them for that selflessness by raping them or sexually abusing them in the military. I could be angry at the military for that, but it's not just them. Sometimes it is a government program designed specifically to target individuals that they feel are in need of self-isolation measures, so they would do something like that. Yes, I'm calling out the bullshit of that entire fucking event. I'm doing calculus homework and you decide to sexually abuse me then, but not any other time? Fuck you. So I'm mad at them for that, but I'm more disappointed that the United States is not on Mars. Now, I agree that I don't want the United States on Mars. I want someone to go to Mars, which is a very, very complicated thing because when you have the opportunity of a lifetime to go to another planet and start again, start completely fresh, take all that you've learned Rousseau, you've learned Locke, you've learned Hobbes, you've learned so much about political science and philosophy. You can reinvent society. The government comes down to you and they say, we need to raise taxes for a road or, a bridge or something like that. And you say, sure, that's important. But then you see politicians, they have huge paychecks while the town itself falls apart. Whole social services programs have to shut down while a politician has a six-figure job. I don't agree that a politician should work for free. I don't think they should work at all. I think that there's a difference between a politician and a community leader. I consider myself a community leader. I would like the position of mayor, but I have to go to my Native American ancestral roots and say, there's a reason why you have village elders and a council of elders who decide things. These are people who don't need anything. What do they need? I want to go to Mars because I want to end this cycle of empty needing. If you want something, you build it. If you need something, it's there. That would free up so many people because there are people who are there are people who are struggling right now worse than I am, and listening to Clint in his podcast, he has a point. What do you really need in America? I mean, I'm asking for more disability benefits. But it's not really the money that I want. I want the freedom to be by myself. To say, this is mine. You cannot come into my personal space. I don't need to share personal space with you. I know that is considered, well, I mean, are you autistic or something that you have such an issue with sharing space with people? It's like, no, I don't want to get fucking raped. And when I think of being near American people, I think you're just fucking rapist. I mean, I luckily did not have that happen to me in Los Angeles, but I've been groped. I've had super aggressive women run up to me and refuse to leave. It makes me uncomfortable. And then I say to myself, is there a number figure? Is there a number figure that I could reach where I could say, there's a door, I lock it, and on the other side of it, there's other people. And if I walk outside, I can walk out with pride and dignity. I'm a proud transgender person. I love wearing loose fitting clothes. I love doing my nails. And I understand that it's a very charged word when you say transgender, but I'm Native American, so I will clarify what I mean. I mean that I'm two-spirit. I embody both the male and female energies within myself. I allow myself to just breathe life into this world. I don't try and direct it toward one way or the other, because there's so much strength in both. There's strength in the ability to have empathy. There's strength in the ability to stand your ground. Male and female energy within yourself. So I'm two-spirit. I don't believe in personally going through any operations, because I like going through the entire spectrum of gender identity. And yes, that does make me more non-binary. But I like being an empathetic person, even though I want to keep away from people. I like being an empathetic person. It makes me a better individual, I suppose. Which is why I need to keep pushing for Mars, because America, they clamor for change, they clamor for change, they clamor for change, but I don't think they want that. I think they just want a good Tuesday. I say that because if it's Tuesday, you've survived Monday, and you know Friday is coming, so you have that to look forward to. what has happened to people? I know that this isn't, the most popular topic to bring people in, but oh, hi there, Clint. Oh, I'm always happy to read some of your stuff. Okay, I'll try and reach you later, Clint. I'm concerned for the greater globe. I'm concerned because there is so much stress on everyone right now, globally. We don't want to live in a government state where people tell you what you can do, what you can afford, all of that. Perhaps it's just me putting out a theory. I think we need to have life coaches as a government job. Someone who can sit down with you, and it could be a purely AI thing. Sit down with you and say, what makes you happy? Or what could make you happy? And then outline for you a path toward that. Some of these things you have to discover on yourself, and some people prefer to do it that way. But when I think of all these people who allow Western medicine, and I guess this is one of the main reasons why I'm not a doctor, Western medicine dictates that you have a mental illness and therefore you're broken, or there's something wrong with you. And sometimes that is the case. There are biological reasons for your mental difficulty. What if the reason is the world around you? There's no pill that you can take that removes pollution. There's no pill that removes road rage, and there's no pill to end loneliness. You can smooth out your emotions as much as possible so you can get through that. I think we need to offer something new. I think we need to try anything new instead of just saying, it's a Tuesday. I'll have a good Tuesday. Or I had a PTSD, in my case, a PTSD flare up, but tomorrow I might not. I need to make radical changes, and I hope America wakes up and makes some radical changes as well. You don't want to do a revolution because you're fucking lazy. And you know that you would get your fucking ass kicked. But you can always leave. So I have tons of momentum on my petitions to save shelter dogs, but nothing on solar energy. I'm trying to put money back in American wallets and nobody wants to listen to me. Nobody cares. So I have to take my good intentions and good ideas and try them somewhere else. And if they're poorly received, then that's fine. But I shouldn't be miserable. And Los Angeles, it just makes me miserable. Which is why I don't do the I Hate LA, Love Me Anyway podcast anymore, because if you truly dislike an area that much, you just leave it. You don't just go through another month. And even though they have a clean air day, they don't do anything. They set the county on fire and nobody cared. Nobody cares about Los Angeles. I care about Los Angeles. That's why I hate you so much. I care about you, but you don't try. You don't try to make things better. Change.org/clear LA smog. It's right there. Am I trying to say that you should never go outside? You should never use cars. Cars are bad. No, I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying let's fix the roads for people who still use those so that eventually we can have good enough roads that we can say, yeah, just stay in. And this is the reason why I struggle with Los Angeles, because it's the one place where you can find truth in the world. The world is a fucking shitty place, and Los Angeles at least is honest about that. But even if it's a shitty place, don't you want to carve out a piece of that place for yourself? I mean, I've had everything invaded by, I want to say, the most impressive hacker team since Johnny Lee Miller and Angelina Jolie. I try to use GeForce Now and they shut down the server. So it just knocks me out my fucking video games. And Apple itself will crash in the middle of X when I'm trying to do my music promotion, deaf music video tweets. And I just don't understand, if you have that much power, if you have that much control over things like the internet, that you can use things like targeted ads to subliminally suggest things to people, then why in the world do you even still care about doing that? Why not just say, well, this is the way over here and let's go all the way and improve things? Hi, Paula. There's no easy way to answer that. I'm a music creator. I'm not just a person who complains on the internet. So if you really want to hear my voice, I make songs if you want to listen to them. I think they're cool. I enjoy them. They're originals. And I do have some covers of artists which I respect. And those are on my channel as well. But you can understand from my perspective that I'm happiest when I'm by myself. I'm not happy when I have people just constantly being shoved upon me. And I'm not an idiot. I know that this is Los Angeles using exposure therapy to say, you know, you were sexually abused in the United States Air Force. Could you get over that? Which is offensive to me that Los Angeles says, could you get over being sexually abused by the United States Air Force? And I understand completely their side of it, because with the power of television and acting and everything, if I were a celebrity, if I was on a television show, if I had to interact with people like Mariska Hargitay or Christopher Maloney on an SVU crossover event or something like that, I would probably be fine. I just don't want to, because that adds on a whole layer of issues, because I'm not famous at all, but I still have women running up to me, women always trying to talk to me in public and crowd my space. And with my PTSD, it's, if you want to text me on YouTube, that's not a problem. And I'm okay with that. But I have severe PTSD. It makes me uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable. I'm glad that I have some decent coping mechanisms that just says, could you extricate yourself from the situation? But sometimes I can't do that, because I'm in the middle of a train platform and I have women rushing by me. They don't mean me any harm for the most part. They're just trying to get to wherever they're going, but I freak out because I have PTSD. So no, I have PTSD, so it prevents me from being an actor, which sucks because I love to sing and dance on stages. But I'll have to just say that that was another life. Another life that the United States Air Force has closed for me. Same with dating. Closed. So the only thing I have left is Mars. It's the only thing I have left. And thank you, Paula, for wishing happiness for me. You know, I wish things were better. I really do wish they were. But LA is trying to domesticate me like the feral wolf that I am. I'm a Native American person. I am not your pet. don't try and make me comfortable with women when I have to go through downtown LA through meth addict capital of the entire country. No, thank you. If anything, I need to keep my fucking wits about me if I decide to go through that area at all. Or maybe because I have such terrible PTSD, just stay indoors, which sucks because I do like performing. I got a lot of music. I love music. What am I supposed to do? Just never do my music publicly? That's a stupid way of thinking. How about I just live in a place where people aren't fucking rude to a person who obviously has PTSD? This is one of the reasons why I miss Texas, because everyone, to a certain degree, I didn't tell everyone how much I was struggling, but they knew. They knew, and they were decent enough people that I was a customer, but they always looked out for their neighbors. Very, very kind, gentle people. Not all the people were. I mean, I did have some difficulty there. I have to be completely honest about Texas in some ways, but for the most part, very, very decent people. And I'm very sad that I left. I'm very sad. Because maybe I just didn't find the right flavor of Texas. But there was such caring people there. And openness and honesty. And yes, that is somewhat naive. But I could be more myself there than in California, this liberal paradise that they call. If I wanted to wear makeup, if I wanted to wear feminine style clothing, they didn't care. They didn't judge me. They didn't make a single comment. They were chivalrous people. They opened doors. They greeted you with dignity and respect at all times. And LA, they don't do that. Which is terrible, because I see a bunch of actors like I forget his name. I think it was Blaine on Glee. He had like a purple dress on. And I said, I guess you can do that when you're safe in that kind of environment. And yes, I understand LA is trying to say very clearly, will you come to safety within the entertainment business? Because that is safety. Tell that to, the many artists that are just gone. How safe do you feel when you have to turn to drugs? How safe are you? Thank you, Paula, for coming by. I appreciate you. I have to have these conversations on record to maybe try and help people, because a lot of people want to come to LA, and I don't know why you're on my podcast if you want to come to LA, but if you do, somehow come across this, I want you to know the truth, the absolute truth. I don't think of them as truly terrible people. I'm just disappointed that with everything LA and the entertainment business is doing, they're not doing more. And maybe that's something you change from the inside. Or maybe you do that by leading an example as an actor who would reduce their own paycheck in order to help veteran programs by starting your own charity. That could be done. Because I talk about my struggles. I talk about how I spend most of my time crying and hiding in my own apartment, and that I have to have a service animal that reminds me to feed myself, to do the dishes, to do anything. And there are still veterans who haven't been gifted with a service animal. That's why I have change.org/man's best friend is a dog. And that petition is doing so well. So well. But not enough people sign that one. And there are veterans right here in California who need a well-trained animal because their physical and mental injuries chase away any friends, lovers, or family. Because it's a burden to deal with what the military broke and discarded. It's a chore. So I'm doing everything that I can to reunite kindred spirits, shelter dogs and veterans. Because as much as veterans suffer after being abused by the military, used and discarded, how does it feel for a shelter dog? How does it feel to know that you had a family, you expected to love and cherish forever, and they just, hopefully, in the kindest case, drop you off at a dog shelter and just, they walk off. I feel for dogs so much. Because I know how intelligent they are. They truly adopt you into your family. And humans, they just, drop them off, or they just let them go on the side of the road and say that a domesticated dog would somehow survive. Change.org/ a man's best friend is a dog. By that petition, I hope to rescue 2 underserved portions of our LA community: veterans and shelter dogs. Please sign that petition, share it on social media. We have to send a clear message that all life matters, that veterans can maybe heal themselves slightly by having a well-trained service animal, and a shelter dog could learn the trade of being a service animal and find a forever home. Change.org/ man's best friend is a dog. I want to change the world, but I can't seem to change my own tone. Like I said, the petition is doing well, it's just not doing well enough. There's been no response from the political leaders that I've contacted about this bill, which would save so much money for California, because you could change some of these shelters into much needed hospitals or repurpose that space for anything else besides just holding discarded animals that need love, that need a home, a family to belong to. And veterans, they could have a reason to be more confident about their life. Hello there, Leah. Thank you so much for coming by and saying hello. I appreciate you. Like I said, I'm just extremely emotional because I had yet another PTSD triggering event, because LA is just trying its hardest with aversion therapy and exposure therapy to say, you know, the only safe place is the entertainment business, and you'd be happy doing that thing you love, singing and dancing. But how safe are you when, you know, you have people constantly seeing you as a celebrity? I mean, I recently saw the GIF from Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull of Kate Blanchett meeting an alien, and she just, I mean, I'm not really ruining the movie. I mean, you've had to have seen it by now. But yeah, you know, she just freaks out. And to have that from every single person that comes into contact with me, that no one will ever be normal again. Although people aren't really normal already, but I don't want that. I don't. Some people want fame, or some people want money. I just want to be a scientist. I want to fix my community. I want to save my people from misery. If I sing for you for like 30 minutes on a television show with commercials, that might make you feel good, but what if I could really transform your life? What if I could add health, vitality back into your life? Instill love back into America. We don't talk about that as a commodity, a good, because we use that, we manipulate that in order to sell people products. Because they know that if you are watching a television show or watching a movie, you're a broken, lonely person. So it's really easy to sell you on products that way. So I'm all for commerce. I just think that you should invest more into yourself. Invest more into finding a balance for your life. Because life is so stressful. And I just don't know. I really don't. I'm not going to stop making music. I'm not going to stop singing. I know Paula's upset at me for not singing and dancing like all the live long day, but I mean, that would make me happy, but I can't live that way. I can't live that way all the time. And I can't live that way when I have PTSD triggers that just ruin things for me. Absolutely ruin things for me. Every day that I say to myself, today's the day I'm going to go to the beach. I'm going to sit down and enjoy the sun and watch the sunset and do all these fun things. And then I have to remind myself of, no, I don't have access to the beach easily. I have to go through this disgusting fucking downtown LA area, and LA Metro just doesn't do enough. It just does not do enough. Because I understand, I mean, I've been homeless. I'll probably be homeless again very soon. So I understand, you know, how nice it is to just use that as an area for people to squat on and to just fall into criminal activity. But could you let it maybe be a safe place for other people too? I'm a veteran with PTSD, and I came to California because I said, as much as I have PTSD triggers and everything, if I lived in that area, I would have been able to, no matter what is going on, sit on the sand, look out into the ocean and say, I'm gonna be okay. But instead, I'm on the wrong side of the county and I'm just abused. And I call it abuse because it is all planned and methodical and carefully timed. Hi there, Jenny. Are you in Canada? I wish. Canada has reminded me several times, dude, you've got an application to emigrate here. When are you going to emigrate here? Like, all your favorite people are here and they're cool. Like, Celine Dion is there, Fifi Dobson's there, Alex Johnson's there, Mariana's Trench is there, Michael Bublé is there. Like, people who I could sing, party with, and everything. But every time I think about leaving for Canada, I just say to myself, well, what about America? Am I the type of person who just leaves the country to fall into ruin? I mean, an anarchist would say, fuck yeah, that'd be amazing. I don't really think it would be. I think what would be best is America evolves from within. I disagree with California. I disagree with what they've been doing, but at the very least, they're the one state that is a little bit further in the evolution. Not to say that Canada is not an enlightened state. Canada is very enlightened on several things, and I miss you terribly. I wish I was there. And I say miss you because I haven't listened to as many Canadian artists as I am required to do for my own emotional well-being. I don't know. It's extremely saddening for me. It's sad that I can't fit it into anything, and I don't really want to. I kind of like the idea of just being a weirdo, just weird by myself. I like the idea of being a one-man band. No, I don't create quite the polished music that I love, but I have original compositions, which I love. Because sometimes I go back into my catalog of songs and I say, I didn't know I could be so amazing. And this is why I do music as art therapy, because no matter how many times I have PTSD triggers, I can remind myself that I am an amazing person even after the Air Force sexually abused me. I'm an amazing person. And I deserve better. I deserve a country that respects science and education, not to sexually abuse a scientist, not to sexually abuse an American citizen. I deserve a country that does that. So no, I cannot just go to Canada when the United States government allows military sexual trauma to continue. In my case, I'm far too narcissistic to be truly self-destructive, I suppose, if I was being clear on that. But my life is ruined because of my military sexual trauma. And there are several people whose lives are destroyed. Destroyed. I cannot imagine the suffering that men and women who have been raped go through. During military service. I check on the petition for Heal Our Heroes, and you read some of the comments and you look at the video testimonials, and I was sexually abused, but there are some things that are just inhuman to do to another person. Where's the justice? Where is it? Because they're going without benefits, without restitution, and they still have to live in this world. They still have to live in the United States. Who speaks for them? I have a podcast, so I speak for them. I'm accepting a mantle of military sexual trauma crusader because I have to do a crusade. I have to speak to politicians. I have to make campaigns. I have to constantly talk about this on my podcast because that is not an okay thing to do. You cannot treat an American citizen in that manner. So thank you to all my fans who appreciate me when I'm singing, and I thank you even more when you appreciate me when I'm not singing, because if I'm not singing, it's because I hurt so much inside, I cannot bring myself to do it. And the reason why is because of my PTSD from military sexual trauma. And the fact that the Department of Veteran Affairs is not giving me my benefits. Because if I had my benefits, I could probably put things into place so I don't have triggers. Or I freak out because there's a woman on a platform on a train. Well, don't ride the train. That's a shitty outlook on life. So I will be vocal. I will continue speaking up about the injustice in the world, and I will advocate for change. Change in the American government and change in California, because the entertainment industry is wonderful, but it has to do more, especially for the actors, singers, dancers, and all the support people that try to make art. How many people who are artists are also drug addicts? How many people who are artists are also severely depressed and overextended because they don't have enough agency within themselves to say no? Because when you're a star, you think you can say no, but you can't do that, because you say, if you need to take a year off or even a month off or a day off, people lose interest and a whole show could be cancelled, a whole movie could be ruined by that kind of selfishness to ask for mental health in the entertainment business. And I guess this is something that SAG has been trying to achieve in many forms. But I still glance at the news from time to time and I just say, well, that one slipped through your fingers there, and that one slipped through your fingers there. So where's the ethics in that business? It's a lovely business, but I think you need something more. And I love Netflix. I love Netflix because, they make a lot of brand new, bold, interesting shows, and they just discard them. I mean, true, some shows are better as limited series and everything like that, but all of them? And people want to do other projects too. So, I mean, I can't be that selfish as an audience member, but sometimes I do wonder whether or not this pressure to be liked at all times eats away at us, eats away at our souls. Perhaps if we didn't live physically in this area, we wouldn't feel this pressure. This is something to consider. I hate acting, but I do appreciate the beautiful stories and the very talents that bring them to life. I just wish you were treated better. And perhaps you could if you received more endowments and better healthcare. But I don't want to be the one advocating for that. I mean, if you want that, then you should advocate for that. But like I said, I'm not a member of that. I'm just suggesting that they might want to look into that moving forward. Better health benefits. My name is IanXIlyana. This is the Mars podcast, where I talk about Mars exploration, but also the many reasons why it is very necessary. We need hope. So with this podcast, I hope to restore your hope that if we try something new, like going to Mars, we'll struggle, but we'll gain so much freedom. True autonomy, true self-reliance by going to another planet. And then you can focus on whatever's really important to you. Or maybe take that time to just rest and recover. I hope to see you on the next podcast.